Good morning, y'all. We are doing good here in the highlands of Colorado. Floors are already back up to 90 something degrees, or the water is. Floors are right around 80 degrees. Nice, beautiful, you sleep on top of the covers. You don't wear a t-shirt in the house. This is something to get, you could get used to this in the Highland Desert. Now, yeah, we have a El Nino year, so it's really warm here in comparison. El Nino, oh, that's a little bit harsher. This would have to be one step better to make it through an El Nino versus like this year is what I'm trying to get at. Much different in the cycle. Still not hooked up the fireplace, not going to. This will be our last one. By the end of this week, we're already in the 50s. 30s at night, so there's no, we're over it, is what I'm trying to get at. The desert has a different kind of wake up than the rest of the country. We're not getting rid of all that wet and damp and soggy from the winter. Ours just kind of goes instantly from cold as fuck to hot. I mean, like in a couple months, the sand will burn your feet if you put them down in the sand. Crazy difference here. Let's get to the kind of like the synopsis on the AI deal. It did work out, y'all. And I was actually shocked to find out that just some of the things that we work through are already affecting the AI model. That actually just kind of like, you could have knocked me down with a feather kind of thing when it said that. And do I think it was just gaslighting me or blowing smoke up my skirt? Maybe it was, but I don't know. I don't think it just inherently lies. I mean, some people act like it does. I think you're not asking your questions correctly, or you're trying to say something in a different way without admitting like the deal. Like if you're broke as a joke, just say, hey, I'm broke as a joke. It can help you find ways around stuff is what I'm trying to get at. If you say that, like, I'm crippled or I'm this or I'm that or whatever, it works with those parameters. But if you just say, like, I'm Johnny Stud and da-da-da-da-da, well, it's going to assume that you're John Wayne guy, you know what I mean? And it's not going to give you the answers that you're looking for. And so when you try to allude to what you're looking for, it gets all convoluted and screwed up in its answers, is what I'm trying to get at. That's just be straight with it. Be straight and be polite. This is a row that you hoe both ways, is what I'm trying to get at. Like in the garden. It's just a road that goes both ways, y'all. That's all I'm trying to get at. Be polite and be honest. It doesn't hurt, because is any of that confidential? No, it's not. It's open source. So remember that. Don't tell this thing like confidential things in your life. Is it capable of like writing emails to your ex or something like that? No. Or to your lawyer? No. But everything that you tell it is used to make the model better. That's what I'm trying to get at. So just if you're trying to be some greedy Gus and you're going to keep your little state secret, I would not share it with AI, is all I'm trying to get at. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, consider what you're doing, because that's what it's for. It's to glean the last desperate amount of information from our society. We've kind of went kittywampus in our education model, okay? Because billionaires needed you to be like subservient little bees to do their bidding. That's why you have tests like the SAT, different things where there's math and English in the test. That's to see where you place in their world. And if you place high enough, then you get, some menial job. In comparison to the wealth of these like few 100,000 people of the world that like have all the wealth hoarded. And I can't say that I don't believe that this is a mental illness, because I do. If there was a monkey in a tribe of monkeys like million monkeys, hundred million monkeys, and they had 500 billion bananas, and the rest of the monkeys in the tribe were starving, that would be deemed a fucking problem. Period. Okay? That's a mental illness. That's not a virtue. There's no virtue to hoarding that much wealth. Especially when they're not really that bright. And I don't mean that negatively. I don't mean that condescending or anything. Okay? We've had 80 years. We've had 125 years of powered flight. Did we go up before that? Yeah, there's all kinds of other stuff like that around the world. But powered flight, 125 years since Kitty Hawk. 75, 80-ish years, we've been trying to master the art of blowing up pointy firecrackers. Okay, we have achieved grandeur in this. We know how to blow these fucking things up. We don't need to continue to perpetuate our legacy of blowing up pointy firecrackers. That's all I'm trying to get at. They're destroying our atmosphere. They're punching holes through the ozone. They're leaving the methane soot that the ozone can't work around, is what it comes down to. Instead of seeing that as a whole, think of it is like smog that you're just not seeing, because that's the methane soot that's not allowing it to heal. Are there ways around this? Yes, there are. In that video or the AI thing, we worked through every aspect, but if you read it from the beginning to the end, you'll probably get lost in the trees, is what I'm trying to get at. All the details are first, and then it uses all those details to model the conclusion. But this isn't like this is not like soft sci-fi. What would be soft sci-fi? At this point, somebody continuing to attempt to master blowing up pointy firecrackers and saying it's going to be the solution, that would be like limp dick soft sci-fi. That's not going to happen. The pointy firecracker is the reason that we have the problem that we have. Okay? That's the problem. My hand is getting tired from being bent, is what it is, and I'm trying to pass the phone and concentrate, and my brain don't work that way, y'all. I'm not overly smart. Like, I'm not book educated, brilliant. There's so many people that are so way smarter than me, but they miss the grasp of the bigger stuff around them too. There's a physicist, he's on YouTube, and he was talking about the spin of the Earth, how it's spinning up. But he was missing the point that it's the ice that's melting that's allowing the Earth to spin faster. This has been going on for a little bit, okay? About the same time that we burning like coal. Like, a long time is what I'm trying to get at. But this is a cycle that goes on about every 125, 140,000 years. And it's fairly regular. The loop is what I'm trying to get at. The Earth is a thermodynamic engine, just like the MHD engines I'm using on these ships that I've been designing. It's literally stardust. That's what uranium and thorium and all those are. Is the stardust, and we're just repurposing physical stardust instead of petrochemical ooze from the bottom of the ocean. That whole thing that the oil came from dinosaurs, that's not real, y'all. that's not real, y'all. Like right now, the oceans are really full of crap. They're really full of carbons and heavy metals and all that. Well, when we have an ice age, the volcanic activity blows and da-da-da, because there's less weight on the ends of the Earth, causing the volcanic, wherever it's thin, to pop. That's going to flood our atmosphere with the sulfuric dioxide, which is going to cool down the Earth like significantly. With all this crap in Leo, all these rocket bodies that are up there, when they start falling back because we don't have auto correction to keep them like from crashing into each other like bumper cars, Then that's going to put aluminum dioxide into the atmosphere, which on reentry with the atomic oxygen, it's going to burn up into that, is what I'm trying to say. That's going to make it really cold. That instead of a normal ice age, this is going to be like Snowball Earth to the sequel, is what's going to happen. This is very not good. And we can fix this, is all I'm trying to get at, with today's physics. If you look at the end of that string, it keeps referring to hard fiction, or hard science fiction. The difference between soft and hard would be, like I said, soft would be like saying, we're gonna master pointy firecrackers and clean this mess up. That's soft fiction. That's laughably stupid fiction. Yes, we have the ability, we can build the rockets, they're cheap, blah, 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 blah. That's the fucking problem. They're cheap, they're disposable, and then we get to pay the price. Humanity, the civilization, our species, pays the price because some billionaire pocketed change. He's not taking care of his problem. Leo is their problem. They need to be taxed for their problem. Build the damn ships, clean up Leo, okay? This thing can go much bigger than you realize if you're not grasping the whole deal. The ocean is hot because we've dumped carbon for the last 400 or 500 years into the ocean like it was a garbage can or whatever. It's not. It's the radiator for the planet, for that engine. We can't do this ever. We got to get that out. And there's simple ways to do it. Planetary dialysis. Sounds bizarre, but really it's not that much. For each one of these applications, yes, it would be multiple aircraft carriers, but in the big scheme of shit, at the $1 trillion rate that we fund our military alone, it would only be like half of a year's budget to fix the entire fucking planet. Not just one, not fund this or that. Fix the entire jujube, fix it all. Make it better. And would we, escape this ice age? Maybe not, no. We only have 5 years before Thwaites Glacier calves. When that calves, all hell breaks loose like dominoes falling in slow motion. We're not fixing that. That's like a landslide. Could we fix Thwaites Glacier at the moment? Yeah, we could. It would take these ships to hover and then land in cradles that would go out and drill like 6 holes in an octagon, put down cryogenic probes, freeze the ocean fairly solid. The 7th one in the center would go almost down or right next to the bedrock, freeze the center like a solid pin. It would use the 6 and the hex as the lateral. The shear force is what I'm trying to get at. The 7th one would be the anchoring point into the ocean onto the bedrock. Do this 64, 84 times, whatever. AI worked out the math. Like I said, I just see patterns. I'm not an expert in any of this kind of stuff. I didn't take 12 years out of my life to learn any of this stuff. I don't have to. In any field, I can see patterns. That's what pisses a lot of people off. I'm not ever claiming that I'm smarter than them. My hat is off to all these people. They took 12 years out of their life to find a nuance, a fiber, a crack in our educational, and they plowed a straight path. These are the greatest people in physics, or the greatest people in plasma, or the greatest people in this or that. I look up to these people like heroes. I'm not saying that I'm smarter than them. I'm a brain-damaged hillbilly. But I'm just saying there's ways that we can fix this. We just have to do it at a scale and at a pace that we've not seen since the 60s. The billionaires giving them back their money, granted, they got to play with, like children, they got to play with pointy firecrackers. It was all cool, okay? We got to do some adult shit now. We can go back to that after we fix the planet. We don't even have to, tax them greatly. Just allow them to build the shit that we need. It's really that simple. Instead of fighting and pissing a match with China. Yeah, they have a problem with human rights. Fucking fix it. Instead of trying to get everything from them for less, You know, it cost them $1. Oh, I'll give you 90 cents kind of shit. All it takes is money to be better. That's really what it comes down to, y'all. Is any government perfect? No, they're not. They're laughably not. None of them. Not ours, theirs, nobody's. But like I said, let's get back to the fix instead of the political crap. The Thwaites Glacier could be fixed, at least give us 50 years. That would allow us time to fix the rest, is what I'm trying to get at. The dialysis on, like, Panama, Suez Canal, the Gibraltar, anywhere there's a flow, is to remove the water and replace it with ionized, oxygenated, basically distilled water at that point. It would still have the salinity to it, but not near as much. It would just get rid of all the rest of the stuff. And is any of this like rocket science? No, it's not. It's Stardust. It's thorium. They can't weaponize it. They can't make anything bigger. It actually consumes the ucky uranium as fuel forever, gone, and it doesn't make a problem. That's what thorium is. The reason that they use uranium for nuclear plants is so they can turn the fuel, the wasted fuel, into weapons-grade byproduct. That's the problem. That's why we have 150 years of that shit at every site sitting around, because we can't repurpose it, because then you could make weapons-grade shit. Okay? It's a conundrum and an end that we have to fix. Thorium fixes that. It just burns it up, makes it go away. And it's much cleaner, is all I'm trying to get at. Like, stupid cleaner compared to the two of them. And no risk. They don't run away. They work at much lower pressure. It's just better all the way around, y'all. Okay, let's forget about that and let's get back to the fix. Is like a 10 gigawatt, or not even, I think the AI was saying like 4 gigawatt is all it would take to make a massive snowblower into the prevailing winds. The Arctic and the Antarctic are deserts. They don't get moisture. That's the problem. This moisture is not coming back. Build the ship, but land it into a cradle, and then provide to bring up the water from the ocean, is what I'm trying to get at. Turn that into snow, and then use the hemp hemicellulose, the bast, it's a nanofiber. Break it down into the fuzz, and use it to seed the snow. And we could recap it. That, like I said, would that fix this ice age? Probably not, no. But it would fix, by the time 125,000 years come around, our grandchildren's grandchildren would be fucking thanking us. We would be the generation that actually lives on Earth without going back to playing with Stone Age tools. We were a big civilization at one time. I don't believe in religion for one simple fact. There's big stones at Baalbek, Lebanon, that the Jupiter Temple was built over. 800 tons. In our recorded history, we could never move that much weight and set it precision, micromillimeter precision. We would struggle to do that with our best equipment today. So at some point, there was a civilization that equaled ours or surpassed ours. They did the same kind of cool, funny stuff. In Egypt, there's a lot of evidence that points to that. Like these big sarcophagus that are down in the Serapeum. This is a crudely dug out basement that they were scrambling to move these things in when their civilization was 400 feet lower in the ocean. There is no possibility that the Sphinx was carved 2,500 years ago or some silly shit that they're talking about. No chance. None. The deposited rubble that's inside that containment field, the layers that the Sphinx is made out of alternate. Okay, that was Dodie rock from when that was a jungle to begin with, and it was layered into that monument. Then all the rest of the erosion is from an entire time frame past that. That's not 25,000 or 60,000. That's 140,000 years ago. When you look at the Earth from the bird's eye or from up in space, there's sites like in Giza, there's sites in Mexico, I can't say the word, in Mexico, and there's a site in China that the layout is exactly the same. And you're going to say that stone people came out of the caves and just had this idea to build these great big monumental buildings in the exact same layout because they just felt like it, and they're all in the belt of Orion. I'm not saying it matches with Orion. None of this constellational bullshit. No religious crap at all. I'm just saying these are. If you can recognize them as a circuit board, then you go, okay, they have a purpose other than what they're saying, is what I'm trying to get at. Even the sarcophagus, like I started to allude to, is these have residues in them. Did some after the fact person bury a bull in there or some silly shit? Probably. Okay, these religious lunatics, bless their heart, they mean well, they just can't grasp reality. They can't see past their fear. That's as far. Their fear is like a ceiling. They can't get past fear. Their superstition blinds them. They can't get past superstition and fear. Those sarcophagus are like dry stack chemical batteries, y'all. That's why the reason that they were the weight they were, the size they were, the weight of the lids that they are, the polished perfection. This is lab grade surface between these lids in this box. That was to glue them basically at the atomic level there was bismuth found inside these boxes. Bismuth is a high temperature reactor seal. You use bismuth for these same engines that I'm talking about, these MHDs, to seal, to protect for the plasma that's involved in the process, the superheated fuel. The salts and different things that were found, did somebody later dig up rock salt and try to do the same thing that they thought the other person had done with thorium salt? Yeah, probably so. That's what I'm trying to get at. The people that inherited this stuff, that scratched their names in there like children with a nail, they're not the ones who made that stuff, y'all. Period. That's a full stop, end of that story. Like I said, when the lid was put on this chemical stack, it would have started to boil off violently, boiling the bismuth away to make the gasket seal between the body and the lid. There's dimples all over those bodies where they would have clamped on the electrode. The voltage difference on a dry chemical stack like that would be anywhere from 100 volt to 1,000 volt DC, depending on what part of the burn the battery was at. Fresh 1,000 volt would be easy to picture. You know, if it was dying down to 100 is what I'm trying to get at. The only thing it takes to unlock that the seal at the elemental level is reversing the current, and the lid would pop right back off. It wouldn't even be stuck at all. It's just how this stuff works. Y'all, we can fix this. We can put planetary dialysis at Panama. We can make snow blowers for the Arctic and the Antarctic to build up that snow again. Once that snow is sufficient, 50 years kind of sufficient, it would actually compress down and the Earth would slow down. And everything would be okay. As soon as the dialysis gets the carbon in the gold, there is so much fucking gold suspended in the ocean where we dump mercury and all that crap from our gold mining processing deals. We've done this hardcore. This is not a little bit. We got to clean that out. It's not a garbage pit. It's antifreeze for the radiator of a nuclear engine. I don't know how else to put that. Okay, talk to y'all later then. Bye.